Today we begin a couple of the most painful chapters in the Gospel of Matthew, Matthew's chapter 26 and 27. These are the chapters that describe Jesus' passion, his suffering, his betrayal, his arrest, and his crucifixion. And I encourage you to look at Matthew 26 verses 1 to 30 that begins that. And I want to highlight verses 26 to 28 where we have what we now, looking back, call the institution of the Lord's Supper. While they were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it and gave it to his disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." Now, one of the things that I find truly significant about these words, and they're familiar words, I basically say this every month when we celebrate the Lord's Supper here at BBC. But one of the interesting things is, and I want to highlight this today, is Jesus says about the cup, "Drink from it, all of you." And that includes Judas. Now think about that for a moment. Here's Jesus. He knows what Judas is about to do, and I'll be talking about that in an upcoming devotional. He knows what Judas is going to do, and yet he says to them, he offers the bread as symbolic of his body, and then he invites even Judas to drink from the cup, which is the blood of the covenant poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. When you think about the grace and mercy and love of Jesus, to me, this has got to be one of the highest moments where we see those virtues revealed. Knowing someone is about to go out and betray you, which is going to lead to terrible physical suffering and death. And yet, Jesus invites even Judas to participate in this act of communion and sharing and Jesus' self-sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins. Isn't that amazing to ponder? That Jesus is inviting even Judas, the one who will betray him to death, to participate in an act of grace, mercy, and forgiveness. You may have someone in your life who you're having difficulty forgiving. I suspect for most of us, that person has not betrayed you to death. If Jesus can forgive even Judas, perhaps we can learn from his example.